wherever I go and wherever I've gone to train and talk to people and interact, I think what really matters is what I'm going to do and not what I've done, right? So sometimes people really take their credentials and their background very seriously, but this presentation or this talk for the next say half an hour, 45 minutes is built on what will be relevant for you, because had this been a session on people management ideas, it wouldn't have been too much of fun, neither for you nor for me. But what we tried to do is, like Professor said, we just tried to tweak it a little, and I did some amount of research, some of the things that are being done across the world in some young companies, some old companies. So I'll briefly touch upon that, right? So first of all, it's been a terrible day. I think the rains have been pathetic all day. So I want to thank you all for coming in. A lot of people have braved it, with the, I think the sweat and the rain have merged together. So you've come in. So thank you very much on behalf of ICFA. He's given you my intro, so I'll not really go there. What I'm going to quickly tell you is, I think all of us appreciate and understand that before we start off, all of us understand that the evolution of managing people has really gone through a sea change in the past 2-3 decades, right? Even a lot of you who would have passed out from say these schools about 10 years back, when you join an organization and when you see today, I think I would consider myself a young guy. I'm not very old, but I see a lot of change in the way HR policies were built about a decade or 15 years back. I used to speak to my seniors and my friends and my colleagues. So a lot of this has really evolved. So whether it's attracting people, whether it's about motivating them to keep them in the job, different industries. You could talk about BPO, you could talk about telecom, finance. I'm sure a lot of you work in companies where you see that people come in and people go. So what we're going to do today is, I'll not really ruin this evening for you. I know this is a fantastic setup for you all to come in. Some of you will be meeting after some time. We've got busy lives and very hectic schedules. So what I'm going to do for half an hour is I'll tell you 3 things. First is I'll tell you about 12 ideas that I've picked up from across the world. A lot of research. I pulled in about 75-80 ideas, but I picked up something that will be really relevant. Some of them are very funny and some of them are very interesting. So I really like if you give in your takes and your comments. Then we'll quickly touch upon, like Rajesh said, we'll quickly touch upon these mavericks, these people who built in companies like this. So if you want to have innovative HR policies, if you want to have innovative people, working in a different kind of a way, you need leaders who think like that. So we'll really touch upon some of them, and then we'll talk about, very quickly, we'll talk about what your takeaways from this session could be. Now, what I also understand, and I'm smart enough to understand, sometimes it's fantastic to talk about innovation. We say great things and we say crazy things and unique ideas, but end of the day, Monday onwards, you'll be going back to your office, right? Now, this session should be useful in that perspective as well. A lot of you are managing teams under you, young people, old people. Almost every one of you is being managed by somebody, and you would have your peers around you as well, right? So maybe the things that I've prepared has worked in the past. Like I said, it's strong research-based content, and I think it will be useful to you in your jobs as well. Right? So I'll quickly cut to the chase and give you the agenda. So we start off with these ideas. Some of them might be a little crazy. Like I said, they might be a little funny as well. Then we'll talk about some of these mavericks, people who started off companies across the world. And then we'll talk about golden rules very quickly and very, very objective. Now, when we talk about innovation, we always go back to people like Steve Jobs and Richard Branson, who built in companies like Apple and Virgin. What we need to realize today is that innovation is not somebody's copyright. There could be a very, very small startup, right here in our city, who could be doing something very, very different, right? So some of these companies are not huge, great companies. Some of the names on the screen that you'll find after this slide, you might not be able to recognize them, but when you see that the idea they got and how that's working for them, it might be of some interest, right? So we'll go straight to the ideas. Semco. Now, a very interesting story about Semco is about 12 years back, I was the editor of the college magazine in my high school. Now, we had to do a section on reviewing a particular management book or a biography, and I was a big fan of reading biographies. Now, what happened is I went to the librarian, and intentionally one fine night I said, I want to pick up the biography which has been the most hated and nobody's really picked it up. So he said, why don't you pick up Semco? Now, this company is based in Brazil, and the name of the owner is Ricardo Semper. This company, you'll not believe it, has no rules. They've got no rules about how to manage people. It's completely democratic. So if you're joining Semco tomorrow, you'll be joining in and you'll be meeting say about 20-25 people. And they'll be assessing you, talking to you, maybe you'll meet 6 people on a particular day. They don't have interviews, they have interactions. They see how well you fit with the company culture, they test your attitude more than your aptitude. Right? Number one. Number two, they do not have set pay scales. You decide your own pay. That is what the company says. Imagine if that happens in India, what's going to happen? they don't have defined roles. So if you want to do, now Ricardo Semler believes that nobody comes as a born marketing guy or a born HR guy or a born finance guy. He says, you do this, if you enjoy this, continue. If you don't, leave that, go to a different role. They've kept it very, very fluid and they do fantastically well. If you have time, of all the names, I wanted to put this in the first because this is a personal favorite, and for 12 years he's really shaken me, the kind of work that these guys do at Singh. Yeah. Next is meritocracy at Red Hat. Now there's this guy called Jim Selhurst. Red Hat, obviously you know, open source billion-dollar company, right? Something that you would not know is how these guys function when it comes to their management and their hierarchy. Okay, these guys don't believe in hierarchy. The CEO calls it meritocracy. You could be a trainee who's joined the company about a month back, or you could be a VP who's been working there for 25 years. What matters is not your designation, what matters is the power of your idea. So when these guys want to take a decision, for example, if they want to go to say, if they want to invest in say a new premise. Now, hypothetically speaking, if this is the head office and if I'm the CEO, I'll say, okay, let us have the new premise at somewhere around Tollygunj. Now you might say that let us have this premise somewhere around Shambazar. Okay, so these are two completely contrasting views. You are an executive, I am the CEO, but I do not have any authority. My idea has the authority over the audience. So you will not listen to me just because I am the CEO. What has also happened, and because I've got a friend working here, she said that there have been many cases where VPs and heads and AVPs have been called morons on open forums. Imagine how open the culture is. Can you do that? I'll not do that to my CEO. I don't have the guts to say, the idea is completely, it's bullshit. Yeah, you can't say that. But these guys have tried to build a culture. So it takes time. People sometimes are a little scared. Okay, maine bol diya bullshit, so that guy will remember, and when my appraisals comes, he'll screw me. But they don't have something like that. They say the idea should win in the end and not the person. Next, another very interesting case. There is this restaurant in Paris. Now, what these guys do is they've got a menu card, right? So you go to the restaurant, fantastic. You'll not really make out a difference if it's very different from the other restaurants in that place. But what they do is they give you a menu card like this, right? And you're sitting with friends, say about 4 of you. You read up what's on the menu and what you need to order. But as Indians, what we usually do is we read the menu and then we look at the price. Yeah, so we decide, okay, what's our budget, and if you want to have a dinner, I think we just calculate all that. This restaurant does not have a price list. What they say, their principle, listen to this, their principle is, you come, you sit, you order, you eat the food, you experience our service. And once you're done eating, there will not be a bill on your table. They'll just come in and say thank you. And it is up to you what you want to pay them. Again.
There is a restaurant in Bangalore also.
Yes, I made your point.
In Bangalore also.
I think they borrowed the idea from this. Right. So no, obviously now these guys have come to Bangalore. I hope they don't come to some of the other cities because people are going to eat away and they say, I'll just give them 100 rupees. So obviously, see, the idea is not about putting a price tag because they're really conscious about the kind of food they prepare. They think it's like the best in the neighborhood and they're doing really well. People inevitably end up paying a lot more than what they're eating for. So you eat food for about 1,000, but because these guys trust you so much as their customers, you keep going back there, and for 1,000 you pay about 1,200, 1,500, right? So this is how smart they got. I didn't know they come to Bangalore. I think that's very interesting. Okay, 20% rule at Google. Again, this is through a personal reference. A friend works here in Hyderabad, and I think they started off this in the West, but this idea has now come to India. Very simple, to motivate people to not let them, really not focus on their work while they're at it. So, for example, if you've got a 10-hour day at Google, starting at say 9 in the morning, ending at 7 in the evening. Google gives you 20% of the time to do or work on whatever project you want to. It could be about your job, it could be about something else, it could be about your dog, it could be about your family, it could be about anything. But they say you work for our company and we'll give you 20% of your time to work on any project you want. Now what happened as a result of this idea is a lot of people stopped wasting their time while they're at work. So I go to my desk, first thing in the morning, I open say Times of India and I open Facebook and I open Twitter. Now what people started doing is they started reaching office and they started doing their work because they know they've got 20% of work to do all that nonsense. Some of them also thought of new ideas and new innovations that the company adopted, and they said, okay, why don't we lead on this particular project? Yeah. So look at how these companies are engaging, talking to their people. ABC Supply again, this company is in roofing solutions in the US. Now their CEO had a he had inherited a team which was very laid back and they're not very keen on bringing their points across to the top management. What he did was he brought out 1 hour from his time every single day where his door was open, and he ensured that his managers, his executives, his trainees or whoever write to him and talk to him about anything that they wanted. It could be about complaining about your boss, it could be about something that went wrong, it could be about something that you've done where you did not get credit. You don't need to go through any bosses. How many times we've seen that in India, right? If you want to do this, you have to go through your boss. If you want credit, your boss has to give you credit. If he doesn't, the company will not know. You've done something, but your boss says, I've done it. I think that's happened to a lot of us. So there's an idea that you thought of and something that you did, probably a sale that you made, but your boss said great, so that goes to my number, and he goes off to this meeting in Hong Kong or Dubai or Delhi or Bombay, wherever, and he says that okay, this was mine. Now the company will not know whether this was his or this was yours. Now you're sitting here in Calcutta and saying, yeah, he took away my credit, but this is how they said that if you got anything. Now a lot of people obviously said many things, nonsense, bullshit, bakwas, but a lot of people came up with good ideas because they had a direct line to the CEO, which they did not before, right? Yeah. The 20% rule that Google talks about, you can take away 20% of your time in a work day to work on a project that you care about. The project, they do not specify that the project has to be about your role or about your work or about the company. But inevitably, in the majority of the cases, these guys saw that the project that these guys thought of or the ideas these guys came up was directly linked to what they were doing. Yeah. Okay. Another quite interesting, Zappos is an online shoe store. They are very particular about recruiting. They believe that we'll not have any churn at all, and they've seen people who've constantly moved in, they've grown in the company, they've become leaders, and they've expanded geographically. They've done really well. Now they've got this very small idea and they insert it in a very crucial place. Now what they do is, I'll give you what the journey is like. So if I'm an executive and I want to join Zappos, right? They take my interview, they take a telephonic interview, they take a written test, then someone else takes an interview, there's another telephonic interview. So you go through about 4 or 5 rounds where they're not really testing how good you are, they're testing how patient you are, whether you really want the job or not. Look at how they think. Then if you say, for example, cross the first hurdle, you've crossed say 4 or 5 interviews or whatever, then they call you for an informal gathering like this. Nobody's sitting, you have dinner, you have coffee and tea in the company premises. You don't have a dress code, you go in wearing a suit or you go in wearing jeans or you go in wearing chappals, that's absolutely fine by them. But what they want to see, and in that meeting of about 40, 50, 60 people like this, they'll have a couple of people who will be observing me if I'm the person who's looking for the job. They're not looking at most of these companies, guys. Most of these companies are not looking at aptitude. They know that can be trained, that can be developed. They're looking at attitude. And that is the way Gen Y and millennials are heading. If you look at people who are born after the 90s, mid-90s and 2000s, they don't really care if I don't know about a particular skill. Unlike us, you started playing cricket from a very young age, you play cricket all your life. But today, if a kid starts playing cricket and he knows he's not too good, he can immediately leave that and start playing football. So they are that adaptive because they've got that kind of an attitude, probably much better than us. I think we need to admit. So what happens, coming back to Zappos, what happens is, so you have 5 rounds of interviews, you've got this informal session with the team where everybody comes in, they talk to you, they observe you, you get to know nothing, and you go back home. If you're good, if they like that you fit the company culture, if they like the feedback that others have given about me, they'll call you back. Now the interesting bit is they'll call you back when you think, okay, now I've got the job. That is when they give you a $3,000 offer to leave. To leave. And they're going to say, thank you very much for your patience for the past 3-4 weeks. Thank you for traveling for this particular event. The company says you can join or you can either take this and bye bye. About 3% people is what Zappos says have taken the offer very happily, and Zappos has been very, very happy by their decision. But the other 97% who really comes in, like us, they're like actually very surprised with this kind of an offer. These guys go in, and very few people. Because they fit the company culture so well, because they've understood what their jobs and what their roles are because of the 5 rounds of interviews, and more importantly, because I know you, and I know him, and I know him. So I don't need to go to office tomorrow and do an induction, hello sir, because I already know your name, you know me. So you ask me, okay, what's up? So your first day is almost like you know half the entire office where you're coming in. So look how one small thing links to, the performance of that guy. Now if I'm going in and if, for example, if sir is a VP, and I did not meet him that day, but he knows about me because the HR has been talking about me. So he immediately comes and says, hi Karan, how are you? That's a big thing for somebody like me. You're like, okay, great, okay. The company knows me, somebody knows me, he's taking his name. Yeah? This is what Zappos has done. Is this interesting? Is this, you like this? Yeah? Okay.
Where is it located, Zappos? Where is it located?
No, it's an online store.
Recently, Amazon has offered 5,000.
Yes, precisely. And more than the kind of numbers that these guys have got, I think they want to adopt the culture. Amazon obviously is huge, they're a dinosaur, but because of Zappos culture, they really... Okay, next, very quickly. CrossFit, we've heard of this? Yeah. CrossFit, most of us have heard of it. Reebok, smartly when they launched, now obviously we know Reebok is doing great, but not as good as Puma and Nike, right? Reebok is, I'm sure,
lose a major share.
they've lost a major share, right? So I think Adidas have obviously got a majority stake in Reebok. So this is a very interesting concept that these guys got. They said that we are launching a concept. We're not launching shoes or we're not launching t-shirts. What they did, guys, before the launch of CrossFit to the customers, they ensured that their own employees experience CrossFit. Now CrossFit is all about running, maintaining healthy lifestyle, doing pilates and doing a lot of stretching, etc. It does not involve pumping cardio. You don't need to build your biceps, but it believes in keeping yourself fit by doing a lot of say jogging and running, and they give you shoes and t-shirts and shorts like that. They started this pilot program for their own employees because they wanted their employees to live that life so that they can explain that to customers when they go to the stores tomorrow. Yeah, it's almost like when you have a bakery, you bake 5 kinds of cakes and you taste all of them and then you decide what is the best one, so you keep it up. So they did that. Now what happened with the employees is a lot of them fell in love with the idea because they did not have to pay for it, because the product was theirs. They got more attached to the company and they lost weight. Yeah. So it was a win-win for the employees on almost all fronts, and because you experience the brand, because you run in those shoes, maybe you can really sell them better than just saying, okay, these are good shoes with fantastic soles and they're very light and very good value for money. Paid vacation at full contact. Again, it's a staffing company. What these guys have done with this kind of an idea is something that could be quite relevant in India. You get $7,500 to take a chutti for at least 10 days. What was it? Chutti for at least 10 days, but on one condition. And the condition is you'll have no contact with the office. Even if there's a bhuchal, tsunami, bomb, vispot, you do not contact the office. You leave your Blackberries, you leave your laptop, you leave your official phone. Your out of office email will have somebody's name, it will not have your number. So you say, okay, so Karan is not here, probably Rahul is taking care of what Karan used to do, in his absence. They solved a very big problem. Can you tell me what the problem is? Can you think of the kind of problem that these guys solved and the nail that they want to hit? Yeah.
They wanted them to actually get refreshed during the application and not think about their work.
Very good idea. But there's another bigger reason why they did it.
Attrition.
No,
Not attrition.
backfills.
Sorry?
Backfills. It also proves that if you are not there, company will still run.
Great idea. That is what I want to say. What they did is something like I said, in India, a lot of people don't really do that. Your manager, I'm sure everybody will agree because I've worked in 4 companies and it has happened to me every single time. Your manager is never going to disclose everything. Isn't it? Some contact or some email he might have just written in front of you, but he'll say, "Kya yaar, Facebooking with somebody." He'll not tell you. What this meant is, because if I'm say a senior manager and if I've got a team of 4 people under me, if I've got no contact with my customers or my employees, I have to delegate work. I don't have a choice because I'm not accessible. I've gone to Timbuktu, I've gone to somewhere in the Indian Ocean, in the Marina Trench. You cannot reach me. The company has to continue. Company moves on, like ma'am says. The show must go on. So it will go on because of my team members. So the company forced you in a way to delegate your job and ensure that you give out every single piece of information. Yeah? What's your worth? EPC's technology professionals company, an IT body shopping organization. Now, a lot of us have gone out of appraisals and we said, yes, I deserved 100, they gave me a 70. I deserve something much better. Yeah? You're smoking, you're having tea with your friends, and you start cribbing, you start complaining about your boss. Right? You say कि यार market में 20% हो रहा है, मेरे को तो 8% दिया, this is not fair. चलो ठीक है, I did not do my targets, but I was very close. Then, what do you talk about? That person in that division got 12%, I don't know why. Obviously because that person might be a chamcha. So, you've got different sets of theories where you justify that you should have got something more than what you got. Isn't it? We all do it. Now what these guys did is, they said, you tell us what your hike should be and you justify that with evidence. Fine. The industry norm is 20%. Chalo, theek hai. I'm working in Pan-India Continental. There could be Pan-India Continental somewhere along the road. Right? Now I've got somebody who does the same kind of work that I do. Yeah, I clean utensils here. There's another guy who cleans utensils there. I do about 300, he does 250. Sir, आपने उस कंपनी ने उसको इस साल 20% का हाइक दिया, आपने मेरे को 15% क्यों दिया? Then they'll listen to you when you say कि भैया उस कंपनी में उनको 20% मिला था, जो मैं काम कर रहा हूँ वो भी मिला है. Then they'll give you a 20. They'll not give you 15. But how many cases do we have like this? Most of the things that we say, if you look at the employee's perspective, most of the things we say is our perspective. कि यार कंपनी ने दिया, बेईमानी हो गया, बॉस होशियार था, नहीं मिला. Complaints started going down. People started saying, "जो मिला ठीक है." भाई हो गया. Let us not cry and trip. Okay, whatever the company gave, it's fine. Let us try harder. Let us try and do better. Okay, a very kindergarten kind of an idea. Another tech company in Europe, they had a simple idea. The owner was at a kindergarten where his girl was studying, and they saw this thing where the kids had a small break between their classes, where the teachers used to have, cookies and coffee or whatever. He said, "I'll do this in my company." So, all of us go down wherever we're working to have chai, to smoke, to do whatever, to just take a break or a walk. What they said is, they even formalized that. They said, you have a chai, company is going to give you chai and cookies. You have it together, all of us. There are many times where we've seen somebody is going up, the other person is going down. Right? So they said, let us not have that, let us not, leave your desk. And there are many times where people go in for 5 minutes, they come back after 50 minutes. They get a call, they don't want to go up, they don't like the weather, they don't like the office, they don't like somebody's face, they're not in a good mood. The company doesn't really catch this, but these guys did. So they said, "Bhaiya, coffee piyo, chai piyo, doodh piyo, Bonvita, whatever you want, we'll give you, but you have that inside the office, that's on the house." Questcom is a training company. In fact, I was quite lucky that I saw an email from them on LinkedIn. Like I saw it through somebody who was a connection of mine. Now, again, this doesn't really fit. You got $50 and you got a spam mail. Spam mail is something that we see and delete, or it goes to our junk, or you just get rid of it. Kya bakwas and nonsense. I don't know this guy or this girl, and she's emailing me. You can keep your back so completely. Okay. So what happens is in Questcom, the spam mail is not sent by the marketing guys. It is sent by the CEO. And the spam mail is not a soft mail. It is a hard copy. It is a letter. Okay. Now the idea is, when you get that letter, the envelope, you open it, you get a letter, and you also get $50 come out. And the letter starts off by saying, "Dear sir," or "Dear whoever you are, I hope you utilize this $50 and donate it to a team member who's done really well in your eyes, or donate it to a charity of your choice." It is a spam mail, guys. Generally, क्या करते हैं? We just take it and throw it away. You tear that letter away, but you're not. Suddenly, you're taking the letter very, very seriously. Yeah. The next line is, "Now that I have your attention, I wanted to talk to you about Questcom. And tell me if you'll not read that letter." You will read that letter. Yeah. That person has attached so much of importance to you, and just that communication for 2 minutes, that they've given you $50 from their own pocket. This company.
CEO is sending.
The CEO is sending the letter.
But if he would have sent me a direct mail also, I would have read.
You would have, ma'am. Some of us would have.
Oh, outside participants.
Ma'am, this is a hard copied letter that is sent out to a customer. This is not to spam. No, ma'am. Spam. There will be chaos. The company will go bankrupt. A spam mail is for, is a marketing activity, right? So it's given out to people where you send out, say, 10,000 emails and you get, say, 10 responses. Obviously, we know it's pathetic. It's of the Stone Age. This idea doesn't really work. Good luck to those who think that this still works. But this idea will obviously get your attention. You read that letter, and then at the end, they'll give you their coordinates. My name is Maria, or whatever her name is, and she's the CEO, and we've done this. We've got these modules and sessions that we've delivered. Please call me, or I'll call you. And in majority of the cases, you will call her. In majority of the cases, you'll also give her some work. चलिए ठीक है, I'll give you a small batch. 10 दिन को train करिए. Leadership, blah blah blah, whatever the kind of list that they give you. This is a training company now. Questcom is a training company. Yeah. So they send out this mail and they tell you what all they do. Com skills, leadership, motivation, blah 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 blah. This is a company hopefully where probably I'll reach in say 10 years or 20 years or something like. So this is what they do, which is fantastic. It really hooks you. Most of these are Indian, non-Indian ideas. I wanted to put in something from my own experience. I started off in Chennai and then I moved to Mumbai working with this company called Mafwa. Have you heard of this?
Yeah, of course.
Great. Thank you so much. I was a part of the team. I was lucky to be part of the team. Randstad took over Mafwa because they're the Indian giants, and Randstad is the second largest in the world. So they acquired. They are the second largest staffing company. Mafwa used to be the largest Indian staffing company back then. Mafwa doesn't exist today. The owner started off a new company called Mafwa Consultants, but that is not the old company. So they had this idea for morning place. It seemed really funny to me. I joined as a trainee, and we used to have about 50-60 people in the entire office, and all of them are holding hands and they're talking about something. It used to be really very clear. When I back to school, the idea, again, very smart. Look at how smart these guys are. Some of us Indians are also smart. What they did is, because of the morning place, they started doing 2-3 things. First is, the CEO was holding a trainee's hand, the trainee was holding a VP's hand, the VP was holding someone else's hand. Now obviously, males, females, all of them are holding hands, but that's not the idea. The idea is, across hierarchies, people are standing together. Point number 1. Point number 2, there used to be somebody who was leading that pledge. Now I used to hate this, but after about a year and a half, I became the head of the fun at work committee at Marcus. And I started organizing this. It used to be a lot of fun, I remember it. We used to talk about insane stuff. What did you do over the weekend? You used to have different weird ideas. it used to take about 10 minutes, 15 minutes of your time. But people are talking, people are laughing, and there's a sense of, you get a positive vibe, right? If somebody says, okay, I went and saw Sultan, it's pathetic. Somebody's going to say, no, I saw it, it was very good, yeah. So, you got debates like that. Somebody says, I closed a big sales deal yesterday. Somebody says, I wanted to close this particular company, but I could not, and the candidate ran away at the last moment. So, you're talking about this, sometimes people share, sometimes people don't. But the idea is to give them a platform like this. The third very interesting thing, which I later found out because I also fell in the trap, is they had the morning pledge at 9 in the morning.
Coming up. I was just thinking that.
Great. Thank you so much. So you're unlike me because I didn't know, and I was like, you could kiss and you go wearing a tie and because I think that is why they made me the head of fun because I used to be quite late. So they're like, you come in, so you organize and you stand, and everybody talks about things. What happened is people stopped coming in late, and for somebody who came in late, you missed the place today, right? We had a great session. Then you're like, I missed it, kya? Maza aaya kya? Haan. Then what that person's going to do is probably come into the pledge the next morning. Are you getting it? So these are, from about 75-80 ideas that I had, these are some of the 12 that I wanted to bring your attention to. Now I'm going to move very quickly to the mavericks that we know and admire. So if you talk about, say, about 20 years back, and when we go back, and I go back to the point that I was making about evolution and changes and how these companies are managing their people. If you talk about who is the CEO or the chairman of ONGC, say, no disrespect, obviously, if somebody's from ONGC. But if, say, in 1995, somebody said, do you know what is the name of the chairman of ONGC? Probably not know. If somebody says, and they are a Maharatna company, probably the largest in the country. But a lot of the entrepreneurs today, I'll show you some of their names, and if I give you the names of the companies, obviously you'll catch them and say, हाँ मेरे को तो पता है क्या मेरी भतीजी को भी पता है, she's 7 years old, and she's a better user of that particular innovation than I am, right? The first guy, you can see the logo in the back, yeah. Any of these guys? They do look familiar, right? You've seen some of them. Great, thank you so much. Yeah, let us talk about some of them for 2 minutes here because I love them, and I'm sure a lot of us love them. Now, do you know how many employees WhatsApp had before Facebook took them over?
Around 50.
Are you sure?
I remember reading so.
Okay. What I read is these guys had 6 employees. They could have had the other 44 as temps. So we are together there. Okay, it could be 50. So I'll take my friend's point here. And it was a company that is valued at about $20 billion. 20 billion. I can't even know the number of zeros in what billion has. And these guys, Zuckerberg and co, they bought it. Now, fantastic guy, fantastic team. He still lives by it, and he still runs WhatsApp the way he wants to. Zuckerberg and Jan Koum had a big showdown talk because of one reason. Zuckerberg said, I want to put in ads. He said, the day you put in ads, WhatsApp is doomed. And we all love WhatsApp because it's got no ads, because it's free. And he says, and I hope he continues forever. I hope he continues because he says that as long as I'm alive, WhatsApp is never going to have ads.
There's a section over there when you install it, why we don't tell ads?
That is because of these jokers at Facebook, because they bought it. But these WhatsApp guys, they said the part of the idea is because it gives you privacy. I think very recently they started off encryption as well.
Encryption, yes.
Yeah.
All the messages are encrypted now.
Great. So no, it did not used to happen earlier. Like
No.
BBM used to be encrypted because you needed a BBM pin. But WhatsApp, the beauty of WhatsApp is it catches you automatically. Yeah, Rajat sir just caught me automatically. He took my number and उन्होंने बोला hi, hello Karan. I said hello Rajat sir. So it did not need anything. But now what they've done is they've encrypted it. A lot of people used to hack.
Now once you upgrade the version, once you upgrade it, you get that.
Once you upgrade it, you
Yeah.
can get the encrypted. Yes.
What happened was because the US government had approached Apple for
Right.
data of some
And they denied it. And they denied it.
So almost every other company which has some kind of platform for messages, they have
Encrypted it. Great. But it still does not change the experience for us.
Yes.
It does not. Imagine, Jandu Kesari Jeevan on your WhatsApp when you open it. will you like it? It might be very relevant because you've got, your hair is thinning and you really need it for healthy being, or somebody says ki aap Nutra gain lijiye and body banaiye. Will you like it? You'll not like it no matter how much money they pay. Has somebody seen Sultan here? Only 2 people. Mr. Costello, he founded Twitter and he was a stand-up comedian. Really inspired by Steve Jobs and very responsive. They've increased the character space. I think recently they made an announcement, right? So they've increased whatever you can post. I think Twitter is going to revolutionize. You wouldn't have imagined a social network would solve so many problems like Twitter is doing. Look at Sushma Swaraj. Look at the kind of problems the Indian External Affairs Ministry is solving through Twitter. Look at movie promotions. Look at music launches. Look at people who follow and they want to know where you're going, what you're doing. Twitter is that one innovation. Let us not call it an app or an icon on your phone or your desktop. Twitter is that one innovation that has changed all that. Quickly, Howard Schultz, we know him because of Starbucks. He's been there for 3 decades. His next idea is to understand what the customer wants to order even before he's ordered it. So they track your buying patterns. So you're a latte guy, right? And you've ordered latte 5 times you've gone to Starbucks. So what they're going to do is next time they come in, and what I've heard is that even their menus are going digital. So if I've ordered 5 lattes and if the guy comes in, they'll know that Karan is coming to our store, so he likes latte. That person will go in with 10 varieties of latte. You probably say, okay, this one, and you continue talking to your friend or whoever you're with. So they're really going one step ahead. Something that Steve Jobs once said, I think it doesn't really apply to India, but something that he said is, as a marketer, you must know what your customer wants even before he knows he wants it. Right? Touchscreen, the innovation that these guys made, and Steve Jobs, and all of us are big fans of this, but this is what he said, and this is something that this guy's trying to do. And this is after 3.5 decades of being in Starbucks. Look at the kind of motivation and the dedication towards innovation that he has. He still showed no signs of stopping. They got big problems in India. I think they came in with Tata, they launched it, they came in through a few airports. I think they're coming into Cal as well. But they've been a fantastic success. Again, I think there's nobody that I don't know of who doesn't love Starbucks. You have to love them because of the kind of values that they live by. Okay?
They were a dying brand.
Pivots and multiple things that they've done. In fact, while you're researching this, you also found a lot of people who've turned around, Singh units and companies. Yeah. So, and companies you didn't even know were Singh. Something like a Reebok. Now we knew because we read about them. But there are many pivots and multiple things that they've done. In fact, while you're researching this, you also found a lot of people who've turned around, Singh units and companies. Yeah. So, and companies you didn't even know were Singh. Something like a Reebok. Now we knew because we read about them. But there are many companies who've kept a face, but behind the scenes what's happening no one knows. So again, this guy's a poster boy, he's a darling of a lot of startup fans and guys like us around the world. Now Tesla because that is the electric car that he innovated, right? SpaceX and things that he's doing, again he's got big aspirations. He burns a lot of money because of his dreams. His next idea, and I'm quickly going to tell you, is called Hyperloop. Please read about Hyperloop. Hyperloop is, they're going to build something like a duct. It could be a circle. It could be something like a pipeline. That pipeline will have a small capsule. They'll fit you in that capsule. That capsule will ensure that your temperature and pressures remain normal. Right? The pipeline, hypothetically speaking, connects you from Calcutta to Delhi. And you are basically teleported from Calcutta to Delhi through that capsule in about an hour. 1200 miles per hour. I think Calcutta to Delhi is about 1500. It's not underground because you are in it. Human beings traveling in that capsule. Sir, I think what they're doing is they're trying to build an exclusive line, something like the metro that we've seen in Delhi and in Bangalore recently. They've built an exclusive line which runs above the road. So they'll get something like that, which obviously will be secure. Obviously, he's not coming to India, but he started this between San Francisco and Los Angeles. That is what I read about a week back. No, forget about how. Think about the idea. He's basically teleporting you. It's almost like Jennifer Lawrence in X-Men. You stand here and you're there the next moment. It's almost like that. बोले चल ठीक है मिलते हैं 1 घंटे में. बोले 1 घंटे में? Flight में तो 2.5 घंटा लगता है. बोले आता हो ना यार है ना. And you get on that capsule and you meet your friend in Delhi in 1 hour. Imagine the shock that he or she will get. Yeah. Crazy idea. ना? देख के लगता है कि what are we doing in life? Okay. Some more. You know this guy for sure. Somebody who doesn't know this guy. Okay. And this guy. Okay, can you name the other 3? Can I think of who the other 3 are? Okay. Chesky, young guy, he's a drifter, dropped out of school, was kicked out by his parents. He went on a backpacking trip, did not have money, could not find a hotel. He went on middle of the night, knocked the door and said, do you have space? They said, who are you? He said, I'm a student, I've come in to travel in your country. Can I bunk in for the night? They said, okay, come in. He came in, he went inside rather, he got a bed, he slept. The next morning he said, I want to pay you something. He paid them whatever, say $100. That was 1/10 of what he would have paid had he stayed in a hotel. This is where the idea for Airbnb. You heard of Airbnb, right?
Yes.
How many of you are not aware of what Airbnb does? Can you please raise your hands? Great. Have you heard of Oyo rooms? Yeah. What does Oyo room do? Again, a very, very smart idea that has been clearly copied by these guys from Airbnb. What they do is, you got a house, you live in Calcutta, right? You got 3 rooms, you got some spare gaddas. Imagine, when you have a wedding or a function in the house, people come in and they lie here, there, everywhere, and you utilize a particular room. This idea talks about that. You got spare space in your house, put that up and rent it for a night or 2 nights or 3 nights more. This company will set a person up who's coming into Cal. So look at how everybody is gaining. Airbnb gains because they get some money from the person who's rented out. You rent out because you got a spare room as it is. You can't throw that place away. You're getting 100 rupees for that night, which you wouldn't have got anything for. The guy who's coming in, the tourist or the traveler, he would come to Pan Asia. I'm sorry, these guys are listening. They'll come to Pan Asia and they pay say about 2,000 rupees. You go to my house and you pay 200. Did you understand? I mean, yeah. How simple yet how powerful the idea is. And they've gone. I think there are about 205 countries in the world. They are present in over 200 countries. There's nowhere in the world where you'll not find Airbnb. They even come into India. And they launched. I think they've launched. Great. They got to give Ritesh and these guys a big run for their money. Oyo and these folks. Yeah. Jeremy Stoppelman. What Zomato is to India is Yelp to the world. Understood? Deepinder Singh Goyal, we really love these guys, Indian entrepreneurs, they do really well. But they've got a bigger guy, somebody like this, who's probably looks like us, but they've got this idea and multi-billion, and I'm not really going to the numbers because it depresses most of us. We're looking at this guy. Some of you would have seen the movie Social Network. Yeah? There was a scene where people were hacking and they had to take a shot. The shot is not reality, but the hackathon is a reality. Mark Zuckerberg, he's done good things, he's done bad and ugly things as well. Some of us love him, some of us don't really like him too much, and I think a lot of us, including me, are not really very active on Facebook these days. Because you got WhatsApp and because you got LinkedIn and because I love this guy, I'll come to him. But he did one very smart thing. He understood that the 500 million people in the world are richer than the other 6 billion people put together. So what he did is think of an idea called internet.com. Connecting the world without internet. You don't need data services. He really launched it really big in India. He got big problems. He ran into a lot of people. Forget about what happened. He screwed up. He wanted to, project Facebook, promote it or whatever. Look at the idea. How smart that idea was. That is one. Second is that hackathon. He still does and oversees all those hackathons. He still does it at Facebook. He gets in these people, code champions and people who dropped out of college. If you're good, hack, come into Facebook. Nobody's going to ask anything. Yeah, that's Zuckerberg. And the last one, his name is Jeff Weiner, LinkedIn. Again, I'm very proud to tell you that this guy is a first contact for me on LinkedIn. I joined LinkedIn about 9 years back and he's responded to a couple of my messages as well. that I really save them. I really consider them very, very close. Very smart. We know what has happened to LinkedIn recently, right?
Google being acquired by
Google. Yeah. So now all of these apps and all these social networks might go away, guys. Any of you who's not on LinkedIn, man, please go and please join. I would personally recommend. Obviously, Jeff will not, but please go and join. It is a professional network, and it is going to help you in the way that no other network or app can. Twitter can go away, something else might come tomorrow. Facebook might go away, something else might come tomorrow. This will never go away because it is your professional network. It talks about your friends as well as your colleagues and acquaintances. A lot of the work personally that I have found in working in companies that Rajesh sir mentioned, and also in the recent past where I have started up, has been through LinkedIn. This guy is now building in university pages where he's getting in students ready even before they go out and look for jobs. You start building your own community and your own network. Your friends are good. You post selfies and you click pictures, fantastic. You like somebody and you comment, oh, what a fantastic picture. LinkedIn doesn't do all that. LinkedIn really cuts the crap and hits you, where you need to hit. Join groups, join forums, talk to people, make connections. It's going to help you in your career and life. It's actually helpful. Okay. Now we've come to the U section, where we leave these guys out. बोले भैया बहुत प्रणाम. But मेरे को सोमवार से ऑफिस जाने का है. And my boss is not really as good looking as Zuckerberg or Brian Chesky. ठीक है, तो मेरे को उसी के पास जाना है, मेरे वही रहना, मेरा यही जीवन है, ठीक है. So I've obviously it shouldn't be like that, but for all of us, we've got a normal life, we've got normal lifestyles, we've got normal thoughts, and this is not boring you, right? Or I'll end them. Yeah, we're great because some of us are smelling food. Okay, so we look at these ideas, which in my opinion, what this is going to do is, this is going to help you if you're starting up, if you're working in a company. It is not rocket science. When I read it and when I googled, researched, found out, spoke to people, read papers, and spoke to some of the professors, they're very, very simple ideas. Some of us might be even doing it, but it's a good idea to reiterate and go back and refresh and talk about that from a different perspective and angle, right? Which is what I'm going to do. So there are 7 rules. So you talk about unique ways of managing people. We've looked at some of those ideas. We'll look at ideas specific to us and our jobs. Yeah? All of us agree?
Yes.
Karan Chakra, we believe in Gita. Jaisa doge, vaisa paoge. Treat your people with respect always. Yeah, I was rude to him because I was in a rush. I didn't really say hello because I was really bogged up with my work. Good morning, good evening. Small things like these. You're not doing anything out of the way. You're just walking past somebody and say good morning, or you say hi, what's up. That still counts as respect. That still means you're putting your hand out first without waiting for the other guy. Let us do that a lot more. I'll tell you why respect is very good for business. I'm sure some of you would know this, and I might be stating the same thing, but I'll say it in a different way. Now, we work with managers or we work with teams under us. We've either hired them or we've inherited them. When it comes to managers, we've inherited managers. Yeah, you can't really choose your manager. You go to a company and you've got somebody sitting on your head. Right? Respect him. Respect the people who work with you or under you in the organization chain. I shouldn't say under, but who work with you. You never know what's going to happen tomorrow. And I guarantee this 100%, all of you would know at least one person who's in a place or who's done great in life. He's been very successful because he had a respectful outlook towards people. You will have somebody like that in your company, in your network, your bhai, your band, your sir, your uncle, professor, somebody. There will be that one person, and more often than not, that person will be super successful. When you start respecting people, people like you. If they like you, they'll come close to you. You bridge that gap. If you bridge that gap, you become more than just a professional in their office. If you become more than just a professional, they connect with you with the kind of work you're doing and the kind of work they're doing. If you guys connect, you guys will help each other out in times of crisis. If he knows something that you can't do, he'll obviously come in. And all this starts with respect. It just starts with that one handshake or one hello. Think about it. The moment you respect somebody, the moment you're nice to somebody, that person automatically, if that person is not evil or avil or whatever, he will or she will be nice to you. And that has a domino and a ripple effect on where that relationship can go. When the going gets tough, you might have somebody who was just a professional connection, but because of your respect, these three people, they stand up for you. And they say, okay, no, I know this guy is good, or this guy is right. I'm not saying you need that. I'm not saying you'll go and host a rally at Dharamtala. No, you'll not need 9 lakh people like that. But respect pays. Life में तो pay करता ही है, but business में भी करता है. Sir, I'm sure a lot of you are seniors and you're nodding. I'm very happy that you're nodding. Okay. Encourage dissent. We live in the knowledge age today, right? Nobody's dumb. Everybody's got Professor Google on their phone, and everybody's got some sort of an idea about how business needs to run. 20 years back, probably somebody who's just come in and joined, somebody as a trainee will not know, but try that with somebody today. People in school, and forget about talking in college, people in school, they know how to run a business and how things need to be done. Dissent and troublemakers are very good for you. If you're a manager, encourage this. I'll come to the next point about how to manage this, but what happens with dissent is people spring up their ideas, they brainstorm, they give in their thoughts about what the best solution to that problem could be. If you're a closed manager, if you don't talk to them, if your people management skills are closed, you'll not have any dissent. You'll have a quiet room, and you'll have your idea which is being implemented. But if you give them the chance to talk, somebody might think of a better idea. And remember, it's always about the idea which is powerful. Let us forget about that stage where I've got a big ego. I'm the manager, mera hi idea chalega. Let us cross on that. Let us think of what is best for my team, what is best for my company. Dissent, very, very important. After dissent, make the final decision and move on. Somebody said there are no right and wrong decisions. They're just decisions. You take them, whether it's right or wrong will happen in due course. You need to correct it and understand why it went right or wrong. You need to make sure that your team understands, once I've listened to your dissent, I've listened to your point of view, but when I make a decision, you bloody well follow it. You must have that kind of a boundary in their minds. I've given you a chance. We've had a brainstorming session, we've had meetings. But don't be somebody who says कि मेरा idea नहीं लिया गया तो I'll not do that. Let us not do that. So ensure that you move on and ensure that they move on. The decision is made, this is the team's point, let us move forward and start working. Yeah? Quickly, number 4. Do you think this works? Always give them a why, because I said so. बचपन में होता था, don't have that ठंडा juice. मम्मी ने बोला, क्यों नहीं पीना है? क्योंकि मैंने बोला. No going out and no playing ice spice रात को. क्यों? क्योंकि पापा ने बोला. Does that really work today? It is a very wrong. I'm sorry. It's not the best way to parent a child. If you probably tell him, you come in and somebody is giving you coffee, right? And you go say coffee हटाओ, juice दो. So that guy is going to ask कि sir क्यों juice दे रहा? क्योंकि मैंने बोला बे. पैसा कौन दे रहा? So ठीक है दीजिए जो करना. But that is not the way where this guy is going to understand. What he's going to say is कि coffee भी देते हैं, juice भी देते हैं. If you make him understand, or if you make your employees understand that they are a part of the larger picture, you tell them, bhaiya, you do this because of this reason. Because the company thinks like that. Again, I'm telling you this is quite modern and unique. You know why? Because about 10 years back, 15 years back, and I keep going back, managers never used to say that. Karna hai to karna hai, baat khatam, no debates. It is not going to work today with the kind of people coming into it. Or if you are managing your boss, if you have somebody above you who says, because I said so, please poke him. Please ask him why. If he's knowledgeable, he might not give you the answer immediately, but he will give you the answer inevitably. Maybe in the second, third, fourth meeting, he'll say, देखो यार, इसलिए कर रहे हैं because there is the reason. You're going to watch Sultan, you're not going to watch Grand Masti because of this reason. मम्मी भी जा रही है, you have to take care of her as well, okay? Grand Masti में कैसे ले जाए अंदर? और you just say कि नहीं सुल्तान ही चलना है, then the kid is going to get upset, right? Keep it short, which is what Professor Rajesh wants me to do right now. Which is some of you want me to do that right now as well. communication has to be very, very concise and very, very precise. How many of us have seen, emails which are like big, big paragraphs? A lot of us have seen that. It is quite funny because we are in 2016 and a trainer like me has to do sessions on email etiquette. Still, we shouldn't. A lot of people mistake small emails or specific emails to be, a little rude. कि यार मेरे को ठीक से उसने डेढ़ सौ नहीं बोला. A lot of people don't really care. Some of them who do, but उनका time भी खत्म हो रहा है. Be specific, especially with emails, phone calls, your conversations in office. जो गप लगानी है बाद में लगाइए, but keep it very, very short. The best communication is always very, very crisp and concise. Something like just do it. Yeah. Important. By fire, I do not imply that you fire them and throw them out of the company. Fire can also mean clipping their wings. Fire can also mean not giving them any power or role in a team. Fire can also mean ensuring they are in the project but still they've got no particular role or importance. Fire can also mean you can ask them to move to a different department. If you're doing this, it means that you're getting a rotten apple out of your bag. Point number one. Point number two is, what happens is, because you got the rotten apple, the other apples stay in that bag. How many of us have seen cases of people leaving because they had a bilkul bakwas guy in their team? They want to change their team, or they had a bilkul bakwas manager. You accept it, but you can't do anything. If you take this rotten apple out, your team is going to respect you a lot more. The rotten apple might be a good guy, but we don't care. You're not fitting with my team here. Your presence is harming my team and my team morale. Your troublemaking is very good, but that has to be in a particular limit, and that has to be by my rules and the company's rules. So if you throw this guy out, you automatically elevate yourself. And by throwing, I don't mean you just go and kick. It can also mean rakh your team mein, don't give him anything or don't give her anything. That person will inevitably come back to his place. I think I was wrong to some people. The last point, which I tried to do today, I'm not sure if I succeeded, is make it fun. Your employees, your team members have a chance. Last point, which I tried to do today, I'm not sure if I succeeded, is make it fun. Your employees, your team members have a chance to work somewhere else. They've got jobs somewhere else. They've got the same commute maybe to some other office. They could probably earn something around the same salary in some other office. Why should they work for you? Take your employees seriously. Take your company seriously. And take their job seriously. As managers, ensure that they are motivated and kicked about their thing. Don't just come in and start googling and typing. It could be anything, man. You do anything. You tweak something, you give someone else's job and that person's job to that person. Something like a small post-it note on somebody's laptop or desk in the morning. Good morning from the boss. Can mean a lot. Yeah? 7 rules. So sorry, sir. I'm ending here. And I want to thank you all for being such a fantastic audience. Thank you.